Hi everyone, it's another Clues by Sam day. It is Thursday and we have another tricky one today. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it's a daily puzzle where there are 20 people on a board and each of them might give you a clue to help you figure out if them or any of the others are a criminal or an innocent. And there's no guessing involved, so purely true clues, not even the criminal's lie. And I'm gonna start mine and explain my logic as I go so you can follow along. The link is in the description if you wanna play too. Let's start today's with Mary telling us that Gabe is one of two innocents above Vera. Here's Gabe. Gabe is an innocent. There's 4 people above Vera, and we don't know if the second innocent is connected to Gabe. So let's leave Mary's clue there to remind us that there is 2, in fact, and 2 criminals as well. Gabe says that Clay and Ollie have only one innocent neighbor in common. So Clay and Ollie have 2 neighbors in common. Only one of them is going to be an innocent. So either Lisa or Peter are going to be an innocent and the other one is going to be a criminal. But the fact is that both Lisa and Peter are above Vera. So if any of them is going to be an innocent, they are going to be the second and last innocent above Vera, which means that Bonnie, who doesn't neighbor Clay or Ollie, is a criminal. And now we don't need Mary's clue anymore. Neither do we need Gabe's, because we have tagged Lisa and Peter with the yellow tag. Bonnie now says that column B is the only column with exactly 2 criminals. So column B has 2 criminals total, and the people we have been talking about so far, except for Mary, are all in column B. So we know that those 2 criminals are above Vera, which makes Vera not a criminal. And we don't need... I guess we need Bonnie's clue to tell us that other columns don't have 2 criminals. So let's leave that there. Vera says that both innocents below Chloe are connected. So there is 2 innocents below Chloe and there is 4 people below Chloe. So Mary is one of them and she's an innocent. The other innocent is gonna be connected to her, so it's either Hazel or Kita, which makes Xena a criminal. And now we know there's 2 criminals below Chloe. But column C couldn't be left with 2 criminals only, so we need a third one. That makes Chloe a criminal. And we don't need Vera's clue anymore because we have tagged the people below Chloe. Xena now says there's an odd number of innocents neighboring Floyd. So Floyd so far has an odd number of innocents, Gabe only. He would need 2 more to make an odd number if he has any more innocent neighbors, but we don't know yet, so let's leave that there and look at Chloe's clue. Exactly 2 of Gabe's 5 criminal neighbors also neighbor Chloe. So Gabe and Chloe neighbor 2 people in common. And 2 of them are criminals, so that makes Hazel a criminal. Hazel is opposites with Kita, so Kita is an innocent. And we now know from Chloe that Gabe has 5 criminal neighbors total, so 3 here, which means 2 more. Those 2, if they are shared with Gabe, if they are shared with Floyd, sorry, that would leave Floyd with an even number of innocents neighboring him, right? Because Floyd has Gabe as an innocent, and the last person to neighbor him would be shared with Gabe as well. So if Lisa in this case was an innocent because Gabe already has all of his criminal neighbors, Floyd would end up with an odd number of innocents neighboring him. With an even number of innocents neighboring him. Did I say odd? And Floyd needs an odd number. So Floyd has to be one of the remaining criminal neighbors that Gabe has. So that he ends up with 2 more innocents neighboring him, like I said before, and that makes an odd number. And then he shares only 1 criminal neighbor with Gabe. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let's make Floyd a criminal then. And yeah, we don't know who is the other criminal, so let's leave that there. Floyd says there are exactly 2 innocents above Thor. So Thor is gonna have 2 innocents above him and 2 criminals. And like we said for column C, we couldn't have column A be left with 2 criminals only, so we need a third one. So that makes Thor the third and last criminal in column A, and we get a new clue here. Only one person in a corner has exactly 2 criminal neighbors. That's Akira. Akira has 2 criminal neighbors, which means that Ethan needs one more criminal neighbor because so far he has 2. And there's no way for Akira to have one more criminal neighbor because all of his neighbors are already revealed. So that means that Ethan couldn't be left with 2 and Ike has to be a criminal. We don't get a new clue there, but we know that Zara also couldn't have a second criminal neighbor because that would leave her in the same situation as Akira. So Rowan has to be an innocent. Sorry. I think I might be getting sick again. Oh my god, here we go. That's winter for you. Our winters here are very, very humid. Summers as well. So it's really hard not to get sick. So we haven't read Kitty School, have we? Only one criminal in row 3 has an innocent directly to the left of them. Okay, so we need to know who is a criminal in row 3. Because if Nancy is, then every other person in row 3 has to be a criminal. Or an innocent. Because it could be that if both Lisa and Clay are innocents, then Nancy has to be the only criminal in row 3. With an innocent to the left. So we can't actually act on that clue yet. But Rohan says the 2 pilots have an innocent directly below them. So we have 3 pilots. One of them is Hazel, who has an innocent below her. One of them is Akira, who has a criminal below him. So we need Floyd to have an innocent below him, to be the 2 pilots with innocents below them. So that makes Akira and Lisa opposites because remember that Floyd still needs one more criminal neighbor. And Ollie and Akira are opposites as well because Thor has 2 people who are criminals above them and 2 innocents. Ethan is one of 3 criminals in column D, says Clay. So Ethan is a criminal now, and we have a third one who is either Nancy or Zara. And if it is Nancy, Lisa is gonna be an innocent. Because we couldn't have 2 criminals in row 3 with innocents to their left. So Lisa and Nancy are also opposites. Which we can't tag because there's way too many tags now. But Ethan says that only one row has exactly 2 criminals. What row is that? Could it be row 4? Because it is in row 3. We know that row 3 has only 1 criminal. Row 1 and 2 have way more than 2 already. Way more. Only 1 more. And row 5. If row 5 has 2, what happens? What happens? If row 5 has 2 criminals only, Nancy would be a criminal, which would make Lisa an innocent, which would make Peter a criminal. And then Ollie would have to be an innocent. If Ollie is an innocent, because Lisa is opposites with Akira. So Ollie would be an innocent, which would make no rows have 2 criminals. Oh, row 5 has 2 criminals. I started with that scenario. Sorry. So we know that Zara being an innocent works for row 5. Zara being a criminal makes Nancy an innocent then, which would force Lisa to be a criminal so we can have 1 criminal with an innocent to their left in row 3. Lisa would make Akira an innocent, which would make Ollie a criminal. And then Peter would be an innocent because of Lisa. So we would end up with no rows that have 2 criminals. Because row 5 has 3 now, which makes row 4 have only 1. And no rows have 2. So Zara has to be an innocent, which makes Nancy a criminal, which makes Lisa an innocent, which makes Peter a criminal, Akira a criminal. I wasn't gonna risk that. And Ollie an innocent. And we are done the puzzle, so that was a nice chain there at the end. Only 30%. I'm shocked by this week's low numbers in the solutions. I didn't see any new types of clue today. So I wouldn't think that this is attributed to that, but maybe new people playing the game, not used to the mechanics yet. But always really, really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll leave you here for today. See you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam. Bye bye.